whether we're down. Watching the Sun Bowl, where the Oregon State Beavers lost to Notre Dame today, 40-8, unfortunately. As we talked about on the receipt drive, that one was kind of expected. Just like I think this win was expected, just because no Victor Wembanyama out there today. But even so, Dwight, the Blazers were going to have to work for it because Shaedon Sharpe, he was out. Anthony Simons, he was out. DeAndre Ayton, he was out. And after a big 25.9 rebound performance against the Kings, Duop Reath missed his second game in a row. So who was going to get the job done? Well, tonight, 4 different Blazers, Dwight, with 20 or more points, led by both Jeremy Grant and Malcolm Brogdon, who had 27 each. Scoot Henderson, 22 points, 11 assists. Kind of the stat line you and I talked about in the pregame show, that's something you'll live with every single night. And then Jabari Walker, who, again, we talked about might be able to have a big night. He did indeed have one, had another 25-point performance for him. So absolutely wonderful to see from the Blazers. And the bench production was, again, this was a thing I thought was missing last night. They just couldn't get it done. And tonight with Jabari, 25 off the bench, Ijubaji punched in 2. He had 7 from Thibault and then 11 from Mays. And he had a couple super nice dunks in there as well, Dwight.
You know, interesting game because you're playing without your best shooter in Anthony Simons. And what happens? You shoot 59% from 3. I mean, what are the odds of that happening? I mean, they're getting huge production all of a sudden out of unexpected sources. And, and I'm looking at you, Scoot Henderson. Last night and tonight, he played 36 minutes each game. Over those 2 games, he was 6 for 12 from 3. Does it help to play long minutes, 36 minutes? Does it help to start? Yeah, I think so. And Chauncey Billups even pointed out afterwards, Well, you see, experience when he gets to play more. Yeah,
Right.
it's pretty obvious.
Hey,
And
man, 37 minutes, and you get a chance to shake those misses off and figure out what you're doing. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right. Shot the three well last two nights.
yeah, he had 11 assists and actually should have had at least one more. Kamara missed a dunk off one of his lobs that should have been his 12th assist, but really a good game. He is coming on now. There is no question about it. Not only the stats, but just the way he's handling himself on the floor, and his defense has been real solid.
Yeah, and so it was another great night for him. But this is also why plus minus is such a weird number, too, because he's sitting there at a -2, despite the fact he had a 22 and 11 and definitely impacted the game in many ways. If you want to join in on the conversation with us today, you can pick up your phone, dial 503-248-0620. You can also go to youtube.com where you can type in Rip City Radio and you can join the chat there for those of you who are, just a little apprehensive to pick up the phone. That would have been me if YouTube were a thing back in the day. I didn't like the phone, except like I told you to dial the Oregonian inside line all the time to get my wrestling news.
Yeah.
But as Robert says in the chat, good way to end the year. The new year does get real really quickly, though. That is right, a 7-game road trip. Oh, my goodness. And then another comment in there, Scoot on his way to Rookie of the Year. Who knew? I don't know if he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but hey, let's get excited right now because he's looked good the last 2 games, right?
Yeah, and he still has a lot of time to lay claim to that award if he continues to show the kind of progress that he's shown in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten much, much better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gotten much better, that's for sure. And Dwight and I will dive into Scoot's game just a little deeper when we get to the What's the Scoot segment of this episode. But tonight, Dwight, let's just get straight to the skinny of it. What stood out to you the most?
Well, their offense, number one. They got off to a decent start in the first quarter. They had a very good second quarter, Chris, where they kind of took charge of the game. It was an interesting night. They scored the most points they've scored all year. What was it, 134?
134 points,
134. Yep. And they scored 134. They only won by 6 because the Spurs shot over 50%. Again, defense has not been real good the last couple of days, and you can blame part of that on the people who are missing, I think, and also the Spurs kind of playing a little more disciplined offense than what Portland's used to seeing. But they took the Blazers apart quite a bit of the time with their offense, and so you score more points, and that was a big thing tonight.
Yeah, 28 assists for the Blazers as well, which is a good number. And, of course, the Spurs had 3 blocks last night when Vic's not in the lineup, and you take his 7 away. 10 minus 7 is 3, and that's exactly what the Spurs had tonight, 3 block shots. So there was a difference there. But regardless, you did like what you saw from this young team. Moses Brown didn't do much. He just only played 4 minutes, though, so, don't have to worry about him. But you love the fact that Scoot Henderson was playing well. Malcolm Brogdon continues to play hot right now, which there are a lot of playoff teams eyeing his play, so that's good. And then you like to see when Jeremy Grant has a bounce-back game. For me, though, pound for pound, this game, Jabari Walker was the bright spot, the absolute bright spot for me, Dwight.
Yeah, played very well. Continues to show that he's going to become a decent offensive player, which has been the only question. We knew he could rebound. He defends a little bit. But if he can score for you, too, made a 3 tonight, that's a big deal. His emergence offensively would be a very important part of this team's development.
Yeah, and he was effective shooting, too, not just those threes. He only took 2 of them. Like you said, he did make 1, but he was 7 for 11 shooting overall, was aggressive and got to the line, was 10 of 13 from the free throw line, so those shots added up. And then, of course, had 9 rebounds, too. He's finding ways to impact the game in multiple ways right now.
Yeah, and they use him a lot when they're going small. He can play bigger than he is, and Chauncey brought it up in his postgame comments. You don't worry about playing small if the guy can rebound, and he can. That's your biggest problem when you go small is you worry about the boards. Well, Jabari Walker, we've talked about it before. He's a rebounder. He's a professional rebounder. He will get those boards every night for you.
Yeah, and if a guy can rebound and play defense, the size thing is a little overrated. I mean, Ben Wallace was all of 6'8", and he was a defensive player of the year, and a really good rebounder as well. So if you can do those things and play, like you said, a little bit bigger than the stat sheet lists you at, then you're gonna impact games.
Yeah, and there is an advantage if you can do that while being smaller because you're also quicker, which means the other team, their bigs can't guard you. And I think that Jabari profits from that a little bit. He has bigger players on him, and he can take them off the dribble, and he's quicker than they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you also had Tamani Kamara, another good performance from him, coming off a little bit was a thumb injury that was bothering him. Had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. Continues to play great defense for the Blazers. This is just one of those games, Dwight, where there wasn't much to dislike. They did exactly what they needed to do, took care of business. And this is the type of game, too, where I think after a game like last night, you really want to see how a team responds, especially when they get a game less than 24 hours later, right?
Yeah.
So how do they respond? Blazers responded quite well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out, we talked earlier today about the differences between Scoot Henderson and Damian Lillard at the point. Now, what you're seeing with Scoot is much, much more ball movement. The ball moves more. He gets his shots, but he moves the ball. And those 11 assists are testimony to that. And that's contagious. When your point guard is spreading the ball around, it tends to move better all around the floor. And we're seeing that number of assists, the total assists tonight. They're getting better shots. They made a lot of threes because they got a lot of good threes, open threes. And that matters. The quality of your shots is a big impact on how well you shoot, obviously. So I think that's another thing that Scoot Henderson does for you is he gets you better shots. And that's important to remember. Now, the big question moving forward is, other guys come back, is he still going to start or is he going right back to the bench? I would say it would be coaching abuse if he goes back to the bench. He's got to start.
I would agree. I think at this point, if the team is healthy, you got to put him there, and then you got to put Ant too, because Ant's your best player. He's got to be on the court, and you're seeing what happens with Scoot when he gets 30 minutes a night.
You play him and Ant together.
Yeah.
And his assists will go up even more because he's going to be throwing the ball to Ant, who will make a lot of those shots that other guys are missing.
Yeah. It's like, and with Shea, you've seen the high with Shea. You know that he can have his really good nights, but he's inconsistent. And I think that's something that he can work on. Maybe with the second unit, focus a little bit. Doesn't have to do too much.
Right.
But, yeah, I think when you play like this and, you're handed the keys back, I'm with you. I think it would be a disservice to put him back on the bench.
Well, his improvement arc right now is just – it's like a ski jump. I mean, it is going way, way up. And you just can't do that to him. He's improving too fast and playing too well. You've got to continue doing with him what you're doing right now. Keep those minutes right about 36. Make sure you live through his mistakes. You don't chastise him for doing, a bad thing once in a while, making a bad pass or something. Mm-hmm. But he's coming right now. He's coming on, and they can't do anything to stunt that. He's very important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. If you want to join in on the conversation, you know what to do. YouTube.com. Search Rip City Radio. Our YouTube page will pop right up, and you can join the conversation in right there, where Iron Rods just chimes in, OMG, we won! Which cracks me up because Iron Rods, he's always on the fifth quarter. He's always commenting, and him and I have gone back and forth a few times, cordially, of course, because he doesn't like losing, and I get it. That as a fan, you're not supposed to like losing, right? You want to win, and so he gets real upset after every victory. So
it's going to be a long season for him.
Yes, but I'm excited for him tonight. Look, the OMG, the exclamation mark. He's legit excited that they won tonight, and it was a good victory overall for your Portland Trailblazers.
And keep in mind, they were playing the only team below them in the Western Conference standings, right?
hey now. Hey,
no offense.
Hey, shout out to Iron Rods. He says he's been watching us forever and watching The Godfather since the Talking Ball days. He's an OG.
Any and all Talking Ball references because I don't want the show to be completely forgotten.
Oh yes. Hey, Talking Ball was where this crazy little talking head made his professional live TV debut.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Can't hate on you can't hate on soccer and ball. That stuff was great.
We
So
always thought so.
you always thought
I guess
so.
the boss didn't think so.
All right, Dwight, sorry. I had to turn my mic off just for a second so that, the music didn't blare as I'm testing stuff out over here. This producing, stuff.
Oh,
it's
I take you for granted after 1.5 nights. It's like I suddenly realize again how much you have going on in that room.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. These videos are getting recorded and sent to Chad with emailed give me my money.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, give you a scoreboard report, see how the rest of the league fared today, and continue to break down this wonderful victory for your Portland Trail Blazers. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes, on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
The fifth quarter shot of the night. Liberty Coin and Currency, the place to buy and sell your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins.
Anderson backs it up near the pinwheel. Screen comes from Feibel. Dribbles and attacks. Wraps the pass around. What a play! How did Scoot Henderson find Feibel? Tease finishes it off. But wow, what a pass from Scoot Henderson.
It's time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
Alrighty, welcome back into the fifth quarter. It's time for your scoreboard report.
Good.
Hey,
I need scores.
We need to know what happened, Dwight.
Yeah.
All right, first off, in Orlando, the Magic grabbed the 117-108 victory over the Knicks. Julius Randle leading the way for New York. 38 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Franz Wagner, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals for the Orlando Magic. In the nation's capital, the Wizards grabbed the 110-104 victory over the Brooklyn Nets. So bad day for New York sports teams. Spencer Dinwiddie did lead the Nets with 17, 8, and 6, but it wasn't enough. In Atlanta, the Kings, they were down early, but they came back to grab the 117-110 win over the Hawks. De'Aaron Fox, 31 points, 6 assists, 4 steals. Trae Young, 24 points, 9 assists, 4 steals for Atlanta. In Boston, the Celtics grabbed the 120-118 victory over the Raptors. Scotty Barnes, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks for Toronto. Jaylen Brown, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists for the Celtics. In Cleveland, the Bucks 119, Cavs 111. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 34 points, 16 boards. Jarrett Allen for the Cavs, 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. In Houston, the 76ers grabbed the 131-127 victory. Tyrese Maxey poured in 42 points. Fred VanVleet had 33 points and 10 assists for the Rockets. In Denver, OKC continues their hot play, improves to 21-9 with a 119-93 victory over the Nuggets. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I can never say his name.
I know, it's hard.
40 points for the Thunder. Nikola Jokic, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists for the Nuggets. In Phoenix, the Hornets 119, the Suns 133. Oh man, the Suns are back. Here we go. Terry Rozier, 42 points, 8 assists. Devin Booker, 35 points, 7 assists for the Suns. In Los Angeles, the other team that no one likes in LA, the Clippers grabbed the 117-106 victory over the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane, 18 points, 7 boards. Ivica Zubac, 15 points, 20 rebounds for the Clippers. And, of course, your Portland Trailblazers, 134. San Antonio, 128.
What, no football scores?
But I just ended so perfectly. But I ended so perfectly,
I know
Dwight.
you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. In football, the Oregon State Beavers dropped one to Notre Dame, unfortunately. That was a 40-8 beating in the Sun Bowl. That was where our boss was today. That's why I'm filling in, and the Godfather's here helping me out, so I'm not all alone. And Clemson comes back to beat Kentucky in what was also kind of a crazy little game there, Dwight, because that one was like, oh, wow, didn't expect that. Because they started so slow. Then they came back and they got a touchdown with 7 seconds left. And you're like, oh, okay, things are going good for Clemson all of a sudden. What the Hucklebees?
What about Ohio State? How did the old Buckeyes do?
Ohio State went into the half, Dwight, against Missouri with a commanding 3-0 lead over the Tigers. And, you know, they were just rumbling and bumbling to about 64 yards of total offense was Ohio State. They were in firm control. But Missouri, they would not be outdone. They bounced back. They held Ohio State scoreless in the second half and won 14-3.
I don't mind seeing
that. It just hurt that Ohio State puts out that performance after you and I all day we're like, oh, Ohio State would have been a much better game than Liberty. If Liberty goes out and scores more than 3 points against Oregon, then maybe they got the matchup right.
But think about how much better you'd feel if you beat Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl I mean, beating
Dwight.
Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl.
Dwight.
Come on.
Missouri fans are on cloud 9 right now because they just took out Ohio State.
Yeah, did you see them celebrating after the game? They were going crazy after that.
There is a mystique with Ohio State, right? Yeah. They're like in Alabama too, and Georgia. If those teams are down and you beat them, it doesn't matter if they were down. Beating them is a big thing.
Yeah, they were playing with a freshman quarterback who hadn't played. I think their quarterback was gone, and like Oregon State, those teams can't be expected to perform well when you lose so many players to the portal and to the NFL workouts.
Well, don't say that to the Trailblazers. They basically lost half their team to the injury portal over the last 24 hours.
That's right.
But, hey, it paid off. The depth work. The team played quite well tonight. That's right. They did pick up the 134-128 victory over the Spurs. The game, it got close at the end, but I don't know if it was ever really truly hairy towards the end there. I mean, a couple things could have gone wrong, but it was still pretty much in control. Team played well. That first half, though, Dwight, and we talked about this in the pregame show again, that you got to come out quick. You got to come out hot. You can't afford to be down big early like they were last night when they got down by almost 30 points in the first quarter, which is just insane to think about.
Yeah.
In this one, they scored 29 points in the first quarter, which is more than double what they scored in the first quarter last night. And then they had that second quarter where they poured on 42 points in the quarter. This offense is not good, but it has its nights when it's clicking where things can get done.
Hey, you make threes, it covers all kinds of problems. I mean, they got hurt in points in the paint, second chance points. Not bad, but I think they were outscored in those categories. Fast break points, they've kind of died on their fast break. But, boy, those threes, when you hit almost 60% almost from three, pretty hard to lose.
Yeah, they made 16. San Antonio made 14. However, they did take 6 fewer shots from three, so they were obviously far more efficient. Free throws were about the same, 27-25 in favor of the Blazers. Both teams shot just a notch over 50%. Rebound battle was pretty close. The assist number, San Antonio won, but a 28-assist night for Portland is really good. I mean, that's the team that averages 22 a night. So you add that extra 6, that means something for sure. Turnovers were low, and you're right. Like, you start to look at this, you're like, that's balance, that's balance, that's balance. The fast break points, again, they just got boat race there. San Antonio 23 to Portland 7, and a lot of that is you got to get those boards and then push the tempo. You got to get to catch the defense flat-footed.
Yes, that was a priority earlier in the season, but we're not hearing much about it now. And I think part of it is they may not be rebounding as well. Ayton hasn't been playing. Sharp hasn't been playing. They're losing some rebounding there, so that helps get you out on the break. But still, if you're committed to running, you have to run. And when you have Scoot Henderson playing 36 minutes at the point, you should be running more. Yeah. But they're just not running. And I see it so many times in the NBA. We want to run. Yeah, you want to run until you don't run, and then you stop running because it's hard for teams to maintain that through the year. Golden State has been able to do it a lot through that run that they had.
Yeah.
Other than that, not many teams are doing it.
Yeah. Golden State was also unique in the fact they could run, but then they were still efficient when they would go back into their half-court sets to get a little bit of rest, right?
Yeah. Plus, they played small a lot, and playing small helps you run a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan of tempo. I understand you get fatigued, but it helps. Plays to your strengths. Like, I never understood why they didn't play a faster game when they had Maurice Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu on the team, because Mo Harkless, if he got out in space, he could run a break and finish it on the other end, but instead he's just relegated to the corner. And with Scoot, I think he's the type that wants to get out in that space. So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses over the long run.
No question, Chris. The more room he gets, the more damage he's going to do. There's no doubt. In the open floor, we haven't even really seen him a lot in the open floor, but I'm guessing, that's where we're going to see some really showy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many times, too, you reference like Golden State, like how many times did Golden State get out on the run? Maybe it was Steph or Draymond who liked to grab and push tempo and then finds a trailer. Like he attacks the basket and then passes back out to the trailer, who's then wide open for three, whether it be Clay or Steph or Harrison Barnes or whoever was filling that spot. Easy bucket. So if you get out with Scoot and his trailer is Ant, right?
Yeah.
Easy buckets.
Yeah, the secondary break. And it's always important because they always used to say in the old days, fast break means your 5 beat their 5 down the floor. That means if your center can be the last guy up, but he beats their center down, he just runs right down the middle. You hit him with a lob, dunk, that's it. Everybody has to run. You can't have 2 or 3 guys running. Everybody runs. That's the way the old Lakers did it with Showtime. They ran.
Yeah. It had a nickname because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. The only guy who didn't was Kareem, and that's because he was down there rebounding the ball with that great baseball outlet pass to midcourt.
Yeah.
Man, they were a machine with that break. What a thing of beauty. Basketball looked pretty good in those days, I have to tell you, because the Celtics ran like crazy, too.
Yeah, they shouldn't have canceled that show.
That was a great show. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't believe they canceled it.
That's the new age of TV. Things are going good, but we're just going to cancel it because it's not about the ratings that show's doing, Dwight. It's about how many new subscribers the show is getting. That's what matters.
Yeah, and it's also probably how much they have to pay the actors and how much it's costing to produce.
That too. It could be a plethora of things, but all good things must come to an end, they say.
Still a great show.
Those old days of basketball were pretty fun, though. I don't like comparing. They're all different eras, man. But I wish I would have been able to see that.
Yeah, the game has always been more fun when people run.
Yeah.
It is. You see the great passing, and the real great passers then have a stage to perform on, because in the half court, you just can't be as creative.
Well, think about, for someone like me growing up, White Chocolate, Jason Williams.
Fantastic.
He made passing fun, and it was always in the break, too, where he had his most spectacular passes.
Well, that was Sacramento, and Rick Adelman, who loved to run. They ran with the Blazers, and then they ran in Sacramento and did a great job with it because, Williams off the break, my goodness. and there's just nobody is that fancy. Now, it was Maravich was that way, and then here comes White Chocolate in, and he's doing stuff behind his head, behind his back, between his legs, all that stuff that's so entertaining.
Right.
I miss it.
Yeah.
Now all guys want to do is stand out there 28 feet from the basket and go back and forth between their legs with nothing happening, not gaining an advantage or a step. They're just doing it.
You remember the one that he threw behind his back and then hit it with his elbow to go back the other way?
Yeah. He stole that from Maravich. Maravich had that too.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great play.
I remember Steve Nash was good too, and that getting out there in speed, getting the flashy passes. J Kidd had a run too, but Jason Williams was next level when it came to that.
He had that pass that Maravich had too, where you look like you're scooping it with your right hand toward the guy on your right, but at the last minute you flip your wrist real hard and the ball goes to the left. And for all the world, the ball's going right, and it's like some sort of gravity warp or something where the ball goes the other way.
All right, well, I'm gonna send a J. Will mixtape to the practice facility.
It's out there. There's a great mixtape of him.
Address that bad boy to Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
And that's if they allow him to watch it. They might be afraid someone's trying to steal the video. A la Michigan and maybe other people, if you guys are paying attention today. Crazy
I think
stuff.
The Blazers would let him watch it. They just wouldn't let him do it.
They wouldn't let him do it.
That's been my problem.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. If you want to join the conversation, you got two options. You can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Or you can pick up your phone, dial 503-248-0620, or you can do neither, and you can just sit back, relax, and listen to us and enjoy the show. When we get back, we're going to hit you with a What's the Scoot, talk a little bit more about Scoot Henderson. We might get to the coach's corner, but, I was doing so much back here that my recording got messed up, so I don't have Chauncey audio at the moment. We'll figure it out, though, because that's what we do. We learn on the fly, Dwight. Everything gets taken care of. Chris Burkhardt here.
Complete confidence in you.
Of course you do, as you should. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather Dwight Jaynes on your home of the Blazers. Rip City Radio 620.
The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with Godfather Dwight Jaynes, and it is time for What's the Scoot? I mean, timing. The Orb chimes in on the YouTube chat, says solid win, Scoot and Bari. We're looking like what we want to see. I mean, they did look good. Scoot looked great, and as you and I talked about, like cold hard truth today, right? Scoot is getting better, regardless of what people want to say or be down on him because he was the number 3 pick, and he showed it again tonight, Dwight.
Well, and we talked about the 11 assists. One thing we didn't mention is the 7 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds. Offensive rebounds are the kind of rebounds that good rebounders get because they're tougher to get. Mm-hmm. You usually blocked off the offensive boards, but he got offensive rebounds, and that's a big thing. You know, he's not that far from triple-double tonight. Yeah,
very, very close, as you talk about. Just overall, good game, and you love to see him be active just all the way around, Dwight. And I mentioned that, excuse me, in the pregame show, that what I've liked about him, too, is his sense of urgency in those rebounding situations, getting those offensive boards, keeping plays alive, getting the ball back out and reset. I mean, he had 7 rebounds today, 4 of them on the offensive side. And for a guard, that's pretty big time.
He also blocked a shot, by the way. He's all over the stat sheet.
He is pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more. It's going to be a real interesting situation when Anthony Simons comes back, just to see what happens.
Yeah, and again, you never know because coaches always think in mysterious ways how they want to go with things.
Yeah.
But I the last 2 games, and yes, last game started out really cold for Scoot, and he ended up having a pretty good game by the end of it. Mm-hmm. But a game like tonight, yeah, the shooting was, 9 of 21, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not terrible. Could have been better, but it's still just a little under 50%. But
he's 3 for 5 from distance.
Which is good. And he's playing in a way that having him on the court is beneficial. So I think him next to Ant, and then Brogdon next to Shea on a fully healthy team is the smart way to go. Brogdon's your bench guy anyway. Get Shea off the bench. You get both your rookie and your sophomore guy going with a vet in those main rotations in the backcourt. I think it's a smart thing to do.
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
How many times have we thought something was a no-brainer?
Yeah, Chauncey tends to go his own way. And, you know, he's more toward winning games than he is developing players right now, I think. That's kind of the way it looks. And then if that's the case, he's going to try and make the case that his 2 best guys to have on the floor are probably Brogdon and Simons at the same time.
Now, I would agree with you because I think Chauncey, there's 2 trains of thought. You can either be, okay, we're going to develop these guys. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. Or you can be, we're going to try to win. And in doing so, we're going to hopefully develop these guys along the way.
Yeah.
Chauncey doesn't like losing. He doesn't like losing.
Well, I think he's had a lot of it, and he's had enough of it. And the last 2 years with the tanking and everything that's gone on, he thought he was coming here to coach Damian Lillard. As it turned out, no. Sorry. He didn't think he was getting his first coaching job as a developer of young players. I don't think that was part of his plan either. So he's in an unusual position, I think, for a first-time head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different ball game now when Dame's not there and you're in development mode. And can you do that? And you got a good player, though. I like what we're seeing from Scoot. I know sometimes I feel like I'm in the minority because people have been so upset early on just because he wasn't, great off the top. But, he's playing well right now, and that's the key here is the development. Mm-hmm. If this was at this point and he was still looking terrible and it was a 7-point night, 3 assists despite playing 35, and then you're going to worry. But he's playing better, and even on the nights where the box score is in there, he looks better.
Right, for sure. The eye test is looking much better. And I think you still have to keep in mind we're only a third of the way through the season. We're not even halfway. And so I think he's probably developed a little quicker, especially recently, than I thought he would. I thought it would take longer. And but he's coming on really strong right now. I think spurred by the minutes he's getting.
Yeah.
He's a more important player now. And when you make him a more important player, it's like, okay, I'm a more important player. I'll go out and play that way.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. I can get this done.
I had an old NBA guy who was a GM for a very good team in this league tell me a long time ago, they are how you treat them.
Yeah.
If you treat them like a scrub, they're liable to end up being a scrub.
Mm-hmm.
If you treat them like a star, they got a great chance to be a star. But if you think they're going to be a star, you better treat them that way or they may not.
Yeah.
And I think there's really solid evidence that that's the truth.
And trust me, you saw Scoot on draft night with the gemmed out grill and the fancy jacket. He thinks he's a star.
Oh, he certainly does. Yes, and that's good.
Yeah.
He should think that.
Yeah, absolutely. And after last night, where we got calls telling me I need to wear button-up shirts tonight, we're getting comments in the chat about, "Hey, I'm digging the Injustice for All shirt." See. I speak to the people, Ralphie.
Well, that's what happens when the team wins. Everybody's happy about everything. Although we're getting no calls tonight. So
That's all right. That's all right. It
I'm
happens.
kind of a rookie at this thing. I thought there'd be a lot of calls after a win.
We've had the calls have been up and down this year. This week in general, though. I mean, it's the Friday of a dead week in general between two holidays and all that. But we had the nights. I remember last year we had nights where we have 9 lines available, and all 9 of them were open at one time.
Wow.
Funny. Oh, people are chiming in. Hey, when Chad's gone, Rachel's gone. No, Rachel's been in the chat, Colby. You just haven't been paying attention. She's been around.
Yeah, she was in last night, I think.
So, anyway, Dwight, let's take our last break of the show, shall we? And we'll come back. We'll see if we got some audio to play. And regardless, we'll put a little bow on this bad boy. Go into the weekend because the Blazers, dad joke time, they don't play again until next year, Dwight.
I never thought of that.
That was a good
year,
one.
My gosh.
Oh, man, I can host and tell jokes and produce at the same time. Watch out, world.
You're incredible.
All right, Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes, on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
presents the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups. Time for a brand new ride from Time Jeep of Portland. You won't believe the huge deals they're offering. With over 300 new and used vehicles to choose from, you'll find the perfect ride for your new adventure at Time Jeep. Find us just minutes away from the Moda Center off I-84 or visit timejeep.com. Drive with time.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Coach's Corner. Brought to you by Time Jeep.
Got it?
Has no audio. I tried. I couldn't get it. But I'll tell you what Coach said. He liked his team's effort. Scoot played great. He liked the effort out of Ijubaji. Everyone looked good. He enjoyed it. There you go.
Paraphrasing the Coach's Corner.
Hey, you're allowed to. You're allowed to if you can't get it in.
I thought that was pretty good. It's like you're the translator or something.
We're having way too much fun on this show here, Dwight.
This is good. We should get Ohtani on, and you could kind of paraphrase what he's saying about signing a big contract.
Yeah, I think he said, that's a lot of money. I had to say yes. My Japanese is not what it used to be, but I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. Yeah, man, maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I got a business in this. I'll have to figure this out. All right, we do have callers. If you're on hold, stay there. I did have to throw a couple of you on there just real quick because I couldn't answer and talk at the same time. But we will head out to Dwight's favorite caller. He's going to pick on me again because that's just what he likes to do. We got to head out to East Amity where Ralph the Landscaper is on line one.
All right, Ralphie.
Ralph, the floor is yours. Maybe it's not.
What's going on here?
Let's go out to Daniel. Dan, how you doing? No, you don't want to go either?
Are we doing something wrong here?
Whoa.
There it is.
Am I in the air? Because I can't even hear myself with that music.
Now you are. You're good.
Let's boom. Hey, let's try it now, Dan. Can you hear now?
Yeah, how's this? You guys got me?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for letting me know. See, the Blazers broadcast has a feed going on in the background that sometimes I forget to turn off because I can't hear it in my ear. So if you didn't say anything, I wouldn't have caught it. You're the best. So that's probably why Ralph didn't answer either. So I'll get back to Ralph. But what you got for us, bud?
Oh, hey, just a couple quick comments. I was a little worried about this game. It's a little funny to say it, but it felt like a trap game, which you typically don't associate with a team that's 8-22 or whatever. But after getting shellacked last night, Coach's message was, come on, this happens. Every team gets punched in the face. We're better than this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if they go out and get pasted by a Spurs team without Wembanyama, I mean, it's fine. It's a young team, but you just don't know what you're going to get night to night. And I'm like, that's going to leave a bad taste. If they come back and face a weaker version of the same team, if they lose big, it's just going to be a pretty quiet locker room. And I was really stoked that they got together and got it done. I think you hit the nail on the head with Scoot. He looks better out there. Yeah. I mean, he just looks more comfortable. It's like he's figuring out what works and what doesn't, what parts of his game translate and everything. And I think it's not too late for him to have a really promising rookie season. He's on the way.
I think that's an astute observation. The eye test really is better than the box score test right now. You can just see what he's going through.
Yeah, for sure. I have a buddy who works for an NBA team, and he won't tell me who. He's just a guy I chat with online. I'm pretty sure it's the Rockets, but I can't prove it. But he's in the scouting department, and you just know, like, he's got inside information on stuff that you can't find online. And we chat about NBA, and he was of the opinion that Scoot's going to bust hard. And I was like, how can you say that? He's like the best prospect. He'd be number one if it wasn't for Wembanyama. And he pointed to multiple things in Scoot's game that he's like, this is not going to translate well. Like, this might work in the G League. But that first step, he just had some, I don't remember the specifics, but he's like, the things that he's having so much success with, those are not going to translate nearly as well to the NBA as everybody thinks because people are more athletic and blah, blah, blah. And he's right in a sense, but the idea is that Scoot's a smart enough player and a good enough athlete that he's going to figure out, like, this isn't working. Like, I might have been able to pull this off, at the lower levels, but I'm going to have to work some new kinks in my game. I'm going to have to anticipate better. And that's a learning process, and it's pretty cool to be part of it. Last thing I want to say is I could watch Jabari Walker rebound all night. Like some dudes, they just have a nose for it, and not just being in the right place. I wish I could see the stats for like assisted rebounds per 36 in terms of tapping the ball to a teammate or keeping it up in the air long enough that somebody else can take a shot at it. He's just got a talent for rebounding, and like you said, Dwight, if he can compound that with some offensive potential and find a way to make himself dangerous on both sides of the floor, he's got a real promising career in front of him. It's fun to see. It's a fun team to watch, and I'm glad we got the win.
Yeah,
that's all I got. See ya.
All right. He kind of points out what I always say, and I say it every night. Rebounders are born, not made. And I've seen it. It doesn't even matter how tall you are. I've seen rebounders. Look at Charles Barkley. I mean, really, the reality, he's about 6'5".
Yeah.
Great rebounder in this league. And there have been a whole bunch of guys like that, undersized, but they just rebound.
Mm-hmm.
They can rebound.
That's like I pointed out, like I said, with Ben Wallace earlier. Good defense, good rebounder, all 6'9" on his best day. Maybe that's why he wore the hair up a little bit. It gave him a couple extra inches on the height chart there, but he knew how to rebound, man. Mm. And Jabari, one thing I love about him is it's that effort. He's an all-out effort guy when he's on the floor. And people love to see that. It's the Brian Grant, Ed Davis archetype, man. Hard hat, lunch pail that people just love.
Ed Davis was a really good rebounder.
Yeah, Ed Davis is great. Ed Davis was great. All right, let's try Ralphie again. And Ralph, you're back on with no music in your ear this time.
Well, good. I didn't even know what was the name of that song, Burkhardt?
I have no idea. I couldn't hear it. It was coming from the Blazer feed that I forgot to turn off. Too many buttons back here.
So those guys sit down there and listen to music all day and night, huh?
I am pretty sure they just live there in the Studio C and they rock out. Once the show ends, the disco ball drops and they have some fun.
Yeah. So Dwight, I wanted to clarify something you already know. You often bring clarity and understanding to whether it's the banter on the radio here or the host or anything like that, or just sports in general. And you said you take somebody's message and what they're trying to say and, sort of shine a light on it and shine a light on the most important parts of what they're saying. That's probably the journalist coming out in you. You're saying, look, I got to get to, quote, the story. You're not going to just put a bunch of words on a piece of paper. Well, you probably did when you're coasting in your journalism career. But
never coasted, Ralph.
In those days. So, I want to clarify something, and I'm going to just leave it up to you to clarify this with old Burkhardt there.
Okay.
I can't get through to him. So here's the thing, and I've helped some of these youngsters on these various things that Chan does and gotten them, a little leg up, and they finally came and saw the light. So I told Burkhardt last night that you have to dress for the job you want, not dress for the job you have.
That's right.
He says, I'm a man of the people. Okay, that's nice. So if he goes to an interview with somebody at, big station somewhere or even his own company, are they going to say, wow, I really like how you wear those Metallica shirts. That's really cool, and that's really going to translate. And, they're not going to tell him to wear a suit and tie, but he can't have his boots dug into the mud on wearing the Metallica shirt because that's not dressing for the job he wants. I've said it before, that's a barista deal.
Never seen a barista wearing a Metallica shirt.
Well, okay, you should be taking tickets at the Moda Center for rock shows then.
What's wrong with that? That'd be a roadie.
Well, it's a good career. I'm sure your wife would appreciate it. How are we raising these kids here? Well, I take tickets at the Moda Center, honey. That's a bright future in that. See, here's the thing. You look over there at Mr. Dwight, and you'll see a guy who has a nice jacket on. He has a nice shirt or whatever that is underneath there, a nice zip-up setup. He could walk in right now and go into the administrative offices there, and they would say, hey, look, this guy, has a little bit of style to him. Now, that hat that he's wearing, they might think he's a senior citizen rapper, but they also might wonder if he's working down at the docks. But
I have to I have to explain that, Ralph. It feels like it's about to snow in here. It's that cold. I mean, we are both freezing because they turn the heat off. It won't be on again until next week, and it gets real cold in here. So that's my alibi for that.
Well, I've told these guys, and what they need to do. They brought that up. Chan's brought that up, and he said, "Man, we're freezing." I said, "Well, look, I hear about 95 heating companies on your radio.
Yeah.
You just need to go to one of them and work some deal out where, hey, XYZ came and they fixed us up, and we got this efficient machine here. It takes really good care of us, and wow, the price, our bill went down every month. Don't you think that's an idea?"
I do, but I don't know if the boss does. That's the real question.
Yeah, the boss, what's his first name?
I better not say.
Well, whatever your first name is, boss, let me explain something to you here. When you treat your employees like a piece of meat in Burkhardt's dad's freezer, you're going to get that result from them. If they're in there freezing and they're cold, they're not going to want to stick around or take calls. They're going to be grouchy, and they're going to be upset with you. So, maybe think about how you're treating these poor guys that are sitting in here in this meat locker. They're just trying to do a radio show. And here you are sitting at home by your fire out there in Lake Oswego with your feet up, and you probably got a nice blanket and your nice puppy sitting next to you and a beautiful wife there making you coffee and s'mores out in the kitchen. These two guys are sitting there in a cold meat locker, and you're not doing a darn thing about it. So you're a failure in business.
You know what, Ralph? You'd be my advocate. I'll tell you that. I'd hire you to make that case for us. You got it down pat. That's a pretty good.
Well, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, Dwight. When I first started with my landscaping business many years ago, it's hard work, and I thought, am I going to send that guy out in the ice and cold to go pull a few weeds in Mrs. Gladys's flower beds? No, I'm not. I'm going to talk to Miss Gladys and say, let's let this clear up, Miss Gladys, because there's going to be, that stuff's going to melt, and there's going to be more weeds because all that moisture, and we're going to get all of them. We're not going to get the two that are there.
Yeah, but does Mrs. Gladys, does she have gladiolas?
She probably did. There we go. See, here's the other thing, boss man. These guys aren't going to do good comedy when they're freezing in there.
That's right. And
that was an example right there.
All day, I can tell you that.
That was an example right there.
That's right.
But you got to think of old Burkhardt here. He's wearing his Metallica T-shirt in there, and he's trying to look macho and tough. Good thing he has so much hair to keep his head warm because he'd be freezing.
Well, he is tough, Ralph. He's a tough guy.
Yeah. He certainly is. So, this one ding-dong guy called after I did last night, and he says, "Oh, Ralph never talks basketball." Well, listen, Chan or Dwight or Mr. Burkhardt have been talking basketball for 5 hours.
Thank you.
Do you want me to come in and give you some more? Or because I always say things and they go, "Oh, okay." Like, Dwight, here's a simple question, and I'll answer it, and then you can dance around it because of the bosses. Is Chauncey going to last more than, say, a total of 2 to 3 more years?
I don't think so. No.
Thank you. I told Chan the same thing. He was shocked. He said, "Is he the coach of the future?" And I said, "No. The only reason these guys are working hard is look at them go. They're playing defense. It's because they want to get the heck out of Dodge. They want to go to a contending team and play for a team that's going to do something." So there you go, Mr. Charlie Chan. There's a little basketball for you. If that's not as cutting edge as anything else, well,
I don't know that he understands the Charlie Chan reference, but I do, Ralph. Well played.
Yeah, well, these youngsters here, I'll tell you what, Burkhardt kind of looks like Charlie Chan a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With his with his sushi haircut with the thing in the back there. You could laugh. It's okay.
Careful now, though. You're right on the edge of being politically incorrect, and I know.
No.
I know you never want to do that.
No, I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dwight, it's good talking to you. Burkhardt's over in the corner shivering right now. If you could maybe peel off one of those jackets and give it to him and talk to your boss, whoever that guy is. If he had a creative stitch of energy in him, he would figure out a way to glorify this heating company that saved his poor slabs of meat that are sitting there at night freezing in this meat locker trying to do a radio show. But, I'll just tell you, enjoy your big house in Lake Oswego with the 4 fireplaces and the great heating system, okay? My house is plenty nice. I don't need to worry.
I'm sure it is.
All right, we'll make sure he knows. We'll let him know. I'm warm in here as long as I don't open that door.
Oh, really?
I'm good.
Now this one,
you got the door open. That's why you got to close it.
Well, yeah, and then we close it. It doesn't seem to make any difference. I don't know. Chad doesn't like it closed. It seems like, but
I don't know why. Because he likes everybody to hear him, so he can yell nice and loud, and everyone through the studio can hear him. That's why.
Well, there's never anyone else here when we're here anyway. Nobody comes in the office anymore.
Yeah. I just want to point out that the YouTube chat saying Metallica rules, and if you wear a Metallica shirt to a job interview, you should instantly get hired. As if this is what I would wear to a job interview. And he says, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. What if the job I have is the job I want?
You sure?
I get to stay up past my bedtime talking about the Blazers with the legendary Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. I'm living the dream.
Yeah, until the morning when those girls wake you up at about 6 o'clock.
Well, that is the true dream right there. It doesn't matter. It's there's no such thing as sleep in my life. It's just constantly, waking up, having fun. They're wonderful, though. Dwight, thanks for rolling with me the last 2 days.
A lot of fun, Chris. Really been fun.
Yes, it has been. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back with Chad in tow on Monday because the Blazers got to play on New Year's.
And I'll tell you what.
What you got?
I'll see you next year.
But see, these jokes were coming in hot and heavy in 2024.
We got jokes here. Who said we're not funny?
See him next year.
Booyah! Yeah.
Yes!
All right, everyone. We will see you on Monday. Have a great one. And as Chad would say, show me your Blazer.